Hi everyone, it's Arundhati and welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk Yoga podcast. I hope you are doing really well. I have some exciting news to share with you with this little Let's Talk Yoga community. This past week, we hit 750,000 downloads for the Let's Talk Yoga podcast. Honestly, this milestone is because of you and your continued support to this platform in so many different ways. The Let's Talk Yoga podcast has always been a little offbeat compared to other yoga podcasts. We've never really leaned on celebrity yoga teachers, people who have social media following or publish books. We've always gone after just authentic yoga in our best way possible. So we've brought on guests who are barely visible to the social media digital world. In fact, many of them don't even have active social media profiles. We've just looked for who can help you learn yoga more deeply and enhance your clarity. So without yoga teacher celebrities, without following trendy topics and being controversial, this little podcast is hopefully on its way towards 1 million downloads in the near future. And that's where you come in. Only 1% of our listener base actually leaves us reviews and ratings. And it's really, to me, it is beautiful to read your reviews. In fact, it's one of my most favorite things to do at the end of every month is to open up all the reviews and read the reviews you leave us. And I really wish that everybody who's listening to this podcast or has listened to this podcast at some point and has gotten a little value from it takes a moment to leave us a review. It is what moves the needle for us. It is what will help me keep this show sponsor free and ad free for years to come. For the past 4 years, we have deliberately not put ads or sponsors on this show because I don't want your listening experience to be cluttered. And I want your eyes, your ears, your attention, everything on the yoga itself. Okay, so I really hope that you will take that into account and help us by paying it forward and pushing this podcast out there a little more. I strongly believe it is a timeless resource and it should be in the hands of many, many, many more yoga teachers and students. So please do me a favor. There are only two people behind this podcast, my podcast producer, Shay, and me. And we would love for you to pay it forward. You can do one of three things or all three things. You could share this on social media via a post, a reel, or a story, or just reshare our weekly podcast episode clips and help us get the message of this podcast out there. You don't have to do anything. You just have to share it and say something like, listening to this currently, my favorite podcast. Something like that will help us reach a slightly wider audience. And if you are a yoga teacher like I am, or a yoga studio owner, consider sharing this episode with your students or your yoga teacher trainee group. There is so much in here for us to benefit. I usually like to share one or two episodes that really resonate with me. Like, for example, I shared 5 life lessons from yoga poses a couple of weeks ago. And that's an episode I'm sharing with my students because I believe it's deeply relevant to them in their asana practice. So pick one or two that you really resonate with or you think they will benefit and share that with them. One of my listeners reached out to me last year and she was telling me how she runs a little podcast listening club where she and a couple of her yoga friends, they get together and they listen to an episode a week and then they exchange notes and insights on it before the next one drops. I thought that was really sweet. So if you can share this in some capacity, it would mean the world to our little team. And lastly, the most non-glamorous thing is reviews, rating, downloads, being a subscriber. These metrics never get old in the podcast world. And in fact, they are what really moves the needle for us. So please take a moment. It'll take you 2 minutes to leave us a review. And I hope you will do that so we can continue to keep this podcast sponsor free and ad free for years to come. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to share the inspiration behind creating another short episode this week for you. I have been immersed in exploring, experimenting with a new course that I'm trying to create for you. It's something that doesn't exist in the yoga world as of today. So it's taking me time to really curate it, and make sure that it is of value if I bring it forward. And I already told you in a couple of episodes ago, I don't even know if this will shape up to be a course. I really hope it can be of value in some form. And as I'm immersed in creating that, I have these moments where I get ideas. So I'm taking some of these ideas that get sparked when I'm working on the course, and I'm creating mini podcast episodes, blog posts, newsletter updates, and even social media reels. So you have different ways of inspiring your own practice and your teaching journey. So I hope it will help you. My mission is to create a more practical way through this medium to enhance your asana classes directly. I know we have done a decent job of giving you the non-asana side of things, but the truth is 6 days a week, I'm teaching asana for the past decade and more. So I have a lot that we've collected in terms of information, knowledge, wisdom that we can actually create and share with you. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it through this invisible medium. So I'm hoping it'll be helpful. I'm very excited about today's episode. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, I'm Arundhati, and you've just tuned in to the Let's Talk Yoga podcast, your ultimate online destination for learning about yoga. Whether you're a seasoned yoga teacher or a curious yoga student, there's something for you here. Let this podcast be your virtual yoga school. We offer insights, inspiration, and loads of nerdy exploration of yoga along the way. But first, who am I? I'm an Indian immigrant yoga teacher living in America for the past decade. I have my own yoga school here in Seattle, and I'm also a Bollywood choreographer, and I've nurtured a thriving yoga community at my studio, as well as a global yoga audience through my courses and this podcast. Through this podcast, I intend to create a space for you, the yoga student and yoga teacher, to learn about yoga in depth. Think of this as your online yoga school, free teacher training coming to you every week. So grab your cup of chai and let's jump in. One of the things that truly brings me the greatest joy is in being of service and having impact in some way. That's what inspires me on a day-to-day basis. So as I've been sitting down and brainstorming how to get you to be more skillful faster as yoga teachers in a yoga class, I'm having these ideas that are coming up. And while like I said earlier, I'm working on that new course, I'm saving these ideas, putting them up here on this podcast for posterity, hoping that it has value to somebody listening out there. Okay. I want you to take these micro ideas that I am sharing, and I want you to expand on it and make it your own. All right. This podcast is available as a blog post as well that I wrote last week. I will share it because sometimes your audience may not want to listen to a podcast. You can also share the blog post with it. I will have all of that linked in the show notes at letstalk.yoga/listen. On the show today, I am sharing 3 super practical tips that you can share with your asana students that will help deepen their connection to the invisible parts of yoga. And it doesn't involve doing a single pose. I want you to listen to these 3 tips. You can take one of them to class each time or offer them all together. The order doesn't matter, but practicing these 3 simple tips, super practical, simple tips will help get a student's curiosity even deeper about yoga. Now, the 3 tips that I am sharing are tips that I share with my students at Aham Yoga. I want you to take these and make these your own. You can practice them one at a time, all of them. Certain days or certain seasons of life, one will become more prominent. And while I share these tips, I'm going to share them to you the way I share it with my students. So as if I'm addressing a class itself, but please make this your own. So tip number 1 is to arrive early to class and to sit with yourself. Again, tip number 1 is to arrive early to class and sit with yourself. This is the easiest way to get more out of your yoga classes. I want you to make a habit of arriving at least a few minutes early. I say at least 5 minutes early, so you can very calmly, peacefully put your belongings away, grab your props, and then just sit on your mat. And all you want to do is close your eyes and be present with yourself. You might have spent the whole day being busy, distracted, catering to others. Your senses have been externalized. So just make it a habit of sitting with your eyes closed if possible, that way less visual distraction, and take your attention inward. And where do you go inward? Go to the breath and just notice the simple breath, inhaling, exhaling. And when you feel ready, let the attention on the breath get steady and make your breathing a little slow. And take a few slow, long, deep breaths. This simple act of arriving early, settling down, sitting with your inner self without distractions, and breathing will help you shed the day away. It will ground you a little more. It will soothe the nervous system in a very small way, and it'll help you be really present in the practice that will follow. I know it sounds so simplistic, but most often people run, and I'm not run quite literally, but rush to a yoga class and put their stuff away. I have people still checking things on their iWatches as they settle in. How you start really matters to me personally. If you notice that sitting is hard for you, you're tired, then lie on your mat. Lie in Shavasana, close your eyes, put your hand on your belly or chest, and take a few belly breaths. If the mind feels very restless and scattered, then do a wide knee child's pose, put a block, a cushion, or a blanket under your forehead, and let your arms be at ease by your sides, and take a few long, slow, steady, relaxed breaths. This way of starting class every single time will quieten the mind and will help you stay more internalized in your practice. So that's tip number 1. Okay? It sounds so simple. I really hope that you will practice this yourself. I make it a point as a teacher to get to the class and just sit with myself before I start teaching in the best way I can. But this will truly be helpful to your students because we don't know what everybody is working through on a daily basis, do we? So just sitting, collecting all your attention, your awareness, and being ready to just go inward through your practice. Okay, so tip number 1 is to arrive early and to make it a habit of sitting with your eyes closed and being with yourself. Tip 2 is on the other end of the spectrum, right after class. Tip number 2 is to practice Mauna on the way home. Tip number 2 is to practice Mauna on the way home. The word Mauna means silence. Okay? That is what Mauna means. In yoga, we have different kinds of Mauna. If you are interested in understanding Mauna more, let me know. I will try and make an episode about the different types of Mauna practice. There's Antar Mauna, inner silence. It's a wow of silence. Okay, I'm sure you have heard of things like Vipassana retreats where it's a silent retreat for 10 days. Now that is a much more involved, intricate form of Mauna. But there are moments of Mauna you can practice on a daily basis. Okay, and it is essentially sensory rest and sensory withdrawal in many ways. But I'll do a Mauna episode if you're interested in knowing more. So just let me know if that's something you would like at some stage. But this is the most basic stage of Mauna that I introduce to students. Okay, I often explain to them that in yoga, we believe that the senses, if overindulged, they can drain your prana. And when your prana is drained, you will not be able to move through your yoga as easily and you would require more rest and recovery. So in some ways, to stop this over drainage of prana, there are practices in Hatha Yoga tradition that prioritize sensory rest and sensory withdrawal. So after class, a simple act that one can do is take a soft, temporary vow of silence. In action, this would look like driving home in silence. And this could be driving home, walking home, biking home, and not talking to anyone for about 20 to 30 minutes after class. And when I say talking, I mean not texting anyone, not listening to voicemails. I don't know if that's something we still do, but not listening to voice notes, not listening to anything, not talking to anyone. So keeping the mouth closed and staying in that, what I'm calling mouth mauna, not speaking. Another option of mauna is for your eyes and not looking at your cell phone screen, laptop screen, or any screen for about 15 to 30 minutes after class, because your eyes are at deep rest after practice. So continuing that. Okay, I know you will have to look at other things in the world, but not engaging with our cell phones or our laptop screens right after class. That is a lot of mauna for your eyes. For your ears, you can practice not listening to music, radio, or podcasts. As hard as it is for me to say that to you, to really just be with yourself and not listen to anything, just enjoying the silence or the natural sounds that are occurring around you. Another way of practicing mauna is to focus on the breath in moments after class, because your breath will be so free after an asana practice, isn't it? So just noticing the natural movement of breath in small windows for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes after class. Another way of mauna is not to eat anything right after class. Drinking water or sipping water is okay, but not to run home and eat a heavy meal right away, and to maybe, if possible, allow 30 minutes after class before you consume anything. The next one, and might be harder, please check your surroundings and circumstance to practice this, is avoiding eye contact with people if possible, because that is still a way of engaging our senses. So just avoiding eye contact with people, especially people you know, strangers, your friends in yoga class, and just letting your eyes also practice some mauna. And the last part here will be much harder for a lot of us, is if you can avoid mental chatter, talking with yourself and being lost in your own thoughts while you're driving home or doing something else. If you need to have this chatter, let it be about something a little more reflective, and try to be in a space that doesn't evoke any emotion from you or any emotional reaction from you. Okay? I hope this will enhance your quality of connection and silence with yourself. So again, that's tip number 2, practicing mauna on the way home after every asana class. And lastly, my third tip is to spend a little time in reflection. Tip 1 and tip 2 should already take you towards being more reflective. But I have some prompts here that might help in enhancing your ability to reflect. So remember, you can use the mauna window to create a ritual around reflection. You can try to reflect during the same time each day. Like for me, for example, I reflect while driving home from the studio in my silence. So it's a habit that helps to reinforce itself. Another way to practice reflection is to practice self-compassion as you learn to reflect on your day. Okay, we are reflecting only on the day gone by, because otherwise it'll have not too much structure. So just the day gone by. There's no end goal from this reflection unless you choose to take it in a certain direction. For this end of the day reflection, you can simply review your actions mentally on that day and ask yourself, was there anywhere where you feel like you could have responded better? Maybe you reacted in a certain way and there was a different way of responding or dealing with something. So just creating these intentional windows of reflection. Over time, our practice of yoga can help increase our ability to respond instead of reacting. And a good way to get to that is by creating these pauses and reflecting on the day gone by. So these are my 3 tips. And I hope that you will be able to share this in some way with yourself and your students. If you need to just share the episode with them, give them the timestamp where the tips actually start and they don't hear all my banter before that. I want you to take this as inspiration and make it your own. But before you offer it to anybody else, please make sure that you are practicing this yourself and it feels true to you and it's authentic to you before you share it with those around you. Again, let me know if you like these shorter episodes with these actionable tips. Okay. These 3 tips, if practiced, can help take your asana students into a connection with themselves that will help them learn more invisible yoga effortlessly over time. As always, I hope you find this podcast helpful, or at least this episode helpful. Do let me know what you think. I will be sharing a reel about this podcast. I would love for you to come there and tell me what you thought about this podcast. Please share it with your yoga friends. Remember to leave us a review and a rating. Next week, I will be announcing some dates for our Pranayama Immersive Study Program for this year, as well as my in-studio 200-hour yoga studies and optional teacher training program. There's a lot happening here on the back end. I will see you next week. Until then, enjoy your practice. Take care. Bye-bye.